always on the top. You know, there's one thing that happened with this new kind of format we have.
Yeah.
It's basically a lot harder for him to get 100 kills per stage now.
Nigh on impossible, really. You need everything to go the full stretch. You probably need every single map played in the deciders as well, because that counts towards the tally. But he's doing his best, and to be fair, it's kind of necessary he's doing his best, because although BDS are in this position where they'd sort of got themselves cemented before, there isn't a huge amount that's coming from them as a sort of 5-strength roster. You have Shaiko going massive, and Brida and Efak are both positive, but Alams and Renshiro, they're -12 each. So there's sort of a bit of a distance in the core of a roster that's usually quite strong as a 5 at the minute.
Now, if we're talking about placements here, BDS, if they win one round, I believe they're confirmed 2nd seed of the group. It's of course that 1st seed we are talking about. That 1st seed both these teams will be looking for. And if Wolves, they find 6 rounds, they are confirmed 1st seed. No one can topple them anymore. Of course, they are looking for that flawless 4-0-0-0. But if BDS take a regulation win against them, they will also be overtaking Wolves, I believe. So, with that, if you win this series, you basically skip one best-of-3 series later on.
You might be thinking, hey, how is it a curse? What designates a curse when these two teams meet? Well, I've done some research. I've done some counting, which we'll go into after Sprabuni's stats. BDS win 7-4 or better. They're golden. Wolves just need 5 rounds, and they're in 1st place. So
and there you have it.
only 5 rounds is the difference, even if they drop the points, because they've already won everything. If they get 5 rounds, they get that bye. The last time the core of this now Wolves roster, which is, I'm going to say core, this is the same coaching staff from 3 of the players. They didn't have Deadshot and they didn't have Mowgli. Were able to beat this team BDS -1 change, which was Rafal was swapped, 694 days ago. That was the last time.
Yeah, no matter what happens, but it's like, no matter how good Wolves play, but as soon as they face BDS, for some reason, everything just kind of crumbled.
That's it. It's almost coming up. It was the 24th of October in the French League. Season 3 was the last time that they were able to take a win against BDS.
Closing into the 2nd-year anniversary of beating that.
Memories.
But hey, they've been doing very well this stage so far. They've looked unbeatable, and that is something to take away with here. If there's going to be an opportunity for them to beat BDS, it is going to be today. However, whenever we're on Cafe and BDS is on one side of the maps, I'm always going to be a bit worried for the opposing team.
Caught in the Fenrir. The dog barks its way around the corners, and Shaiko wants to see if he can try and take the first fight. Swings around and gets the body. Mowgli gone. Brida and Efak got ones apiece as well. Great opening shutdown here from BDS. They knew where the approach was going to come from. The presentation was laid out in front of them, and they feasted against Wolves, who, I mean, P4 now, and everything ahead of them situation with at least a minute 30, but not really anything else apart from that.
I mean, as I just said, as soon as BDS finds themselves on Cafe, it's just a different beast that's awakening every single time. P4 gets himself spot up. He's not going to find anything for his trouble. Shaiko gets that final kill. Flawless round for BDS to start off this game with. Again, which is going to be important for that 1st seed, which means a bye in the playoffs, instantly up to the upper bracket semis. Saves you a best-of-3.
These two teams
Not
actually...
a great start for Wolves.
No, they met on Cafe at Jönköping. This was sort of the moment where that was Wolves' best performance at a major. Stopped it in its tracks by the eventual winners at least, but by BDS. As I said, the moment they believed things had gone wrong. It ended in a 7-5. Was the 2nd map there. Weirdly, same thing back in Charlotte. Again, a couple of roster differences between now and then, but they met on Cafe at the Charlotte major, a 7-5. It's just that haunting statistic that hangs over every single sort of step of this showdown here. And when Wolves start getting rounds, hope that they can try and get some of that momentum, but opening on a flawless is not really the best way of combating that.
Again, if it is going to be another 7-5 victory for BDS, as we just saw, it would be enough for Wolves to secure themselves in the first seed.
So they're aiming for that. Maybe because they're aiming for that, they'll fall short.
Well, that's it. You want to aim for a bit higher, right? Like, just take the full 3 points. If you then fall short 7-5, well, you still got that first seed. Aim a bit higher than what you actually want to achieve. Life lessons here on the cast.
Picking things together. Frontiero, one of those two BDS players that hasn't quite been able to have a big impact so far, is going to try and keep himself in one of those dangerous places. That first fall here for the Wamai. They're going to just keep things burnt, keep Bakery a bit more confrontational. Some support there from a Kiva barricade. And all the support you need from Shaiko, not too far away in coat check. Are now rotated actually, a bit further around to underneath the stairs. Wolves, they're probing, they're trying to find that first sort of inlet. There isn't a big spread up towards the top, but I believe there is one player all the way loose on the top floor for the Guns of BDS.
I was going to say, not everybody's on the site, rather, no one's on the site currently. Everybody is quite adjacent to it. Effect now drops, yeah, finds himself in the freezer. Is going to be providing some extra security for BDS. He's receiving that pressure from both the garage, but also you saw it just now from the restaurant window that he was receiving some bullets from before doing some work. Opening up above, Lem's heading into a fight as BDS about to be receiving a grenade, but doesn't quite bounce far enough. But that does let him know that he is being hunted right now.
Gets rid of a meat jammer, which might get them some control. We saw one stacked on either door. They wanted to try and hold them off from getting the true knowledge of what's inside that room. It's not the most impossible thing to get a shoulder and a shake on. However, it's been a lot of time that's been wasted here. The way that they've set themselves up with these deployed Kiva barricades, with that sort of hold around the site itself, it's meant that, well, Wolves haven't been able to bite inside at all. Alems, just a little bit more damage. Mowgli wants to start knocking his way in. A minute on, and will they finally start being able to put some pressure here onto the site? It starts above.
Yeah, but still, like, as long as VIP is still under control, you basically lose the entire wide side of the map. And a lot of utility and time already was invested out there from the side of Wolves, and now they've just decided that they need to fall off. They cannot quite get through. So a different approach is necessary to find themselves near that red staircase. Leak Effect takes a lot of damage as well as he rotates back towards that side. Big opening there is going to be helping P4 to see if he can maybe find a way in. But as Alems takes down Bibu, things again open up in favor of BDS.
It's 20 seconds left, though. They need to start trying to get the execute going. There's another body that gets into their favor. They're trying to swing and pepper their way into the site. BDS have just fallen their way back inside the walls itself, though. Wolves, they took way too long to get the full clear in. They're not able to get themselves cemented, and it's that caution. It's that sort of slow play. It's that demon that haunts them, where once again we find ourselves looking at a Wolves unable to truly contest against this BDS defense.
And to go back out there, like, of course they tried to take control of the white side of the map. They couldn't. Now, then they took the red stairs approach. And the thing is, they kind of got themselves stuck in like a three-pronged sandwich to some extent. I don't know how that works. Is that like a hot dog? I don't know. I'm trying.
A three-pronged sandwich.
No, I'm just trying to figure out like what kind of, you know, you have that whole debate with like that's a pizza, that's a calzone.
How many prongs is a standard sandwich?
It's two, but I mean, just.
I'd say my sandwich doesn't have any prongs.
Oh, I mean,
layers.
Listen up, layers. Yes, okay, fine, but. It's like you walked into a U-shaped defense line. Let's put it up like that then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it all tactical and cool.
Okay.
You walk in. There's people to your left. There's people to your right. There's people in your center. There's basically nowhere where you can go. And that's because they didn't take control of wedding. So because they didn't take control of bar. And there's just no succeeding in that. There's no way you're gonna be coming out on top if you approach it that way. So they needed to either just continue pushing onto Y or go to, like, the cupcake bar, maybe?
They need to do something.
Well, yes, they need to do something. That's the very first step.
And that's the kind of problem, I think, from my side, is it took them a long time to start to do something. They met what was a full face across all of the ground floor. They tried to hold on and get a catch. They did some scrapes to Alems a couple times, but you're still looking at, you know, how many players of Wolves were outside the building or not quite paying attention to the site with only a minute left. As you said, they need to do a lot of steps, but, well, here's the worst way for it to start. Shaker! I was going to say Shaiko and Shinka combined it both, and he got a double. Bride gets one more, and it's the two factors that come into play is BDS when they're on Cafe and they need to try and get a win, and Wolves when they're up against BDS. It's two different teams, and I mean, with Alems getting dead shot, it's just a bit sad to see for the side of Wolves here.
Jump down from the balcony. It's not going to catch P4 as he finds himself 2 kills for his efforts. Still going to be 3 more to be found. The player right behind the cabinet. Some players up above finding verticality as well. Sure, he has literally done nothing in this game yet. Look at that, 0-0-0-0. Gonna have his opportunity now potentially as Shaiko is looking to find himself his 7th kill.
I mean, Shaiko's about to hit the reverse James Bond. He's been having such a phenomenal sort of stage, and I don't understand why there's debates about whether he's one of the best players that's ever touched this game. Because it's not a
Answer's
debate.
yes.
It's just a fact. He's such an unstoppable force, and there's a joy being able to sort of watch him play his game, unless you're playing against him. Renshiro gets his first.
I was going to say, he's allowed to do something. Let's go for Renshiro, because, I mean, he's just been waiting. Didn't have to do anything for those last couple rounds. 3-0 for BDS right now. And if Shaiko starts off a round like that, like on the staircase, you're trying to double down on him, but you find yourself both taken out, well, yes, a timeout is exactly what you need. Because this isn't a great start. Of course, they're already confirmed for the playoffs. That's not a question right now. Wolves will be at the playoffs. It's just whether or not they have a game off or if they'll straight have to go back into the server tomorrow.
You know how, like, people have monsters at the end of the bed? Or whatever. Or like you know, recurring nightmares where they wake up in a sweat. It's the BDS logo for the Wolves players, right? They wake up and it's, what did you see?
Must have been so happy when they changed the logo.
No, because it's just made those
Slight
nightmares more HD. It's the sort of, I guess it's always the other side of it as well, is because these teams are so closely linked, being from the same region, having such a long history, that it becomes really a bigger brother, little brother situation. And Wolves had a long attempt of getting out of that shadow, right? Because for a long time, BDS were that top French team, and you know, even when they were sort of playing on a different rosters, as I said, when they were sort of X Vitality, and before that, however many different French teams and orgs, it was always, you've got BDS to look forward to, you've got BDS to look up to, and then you got to try and surmount them, because at the time, BDS weren't able to secure a major. Every single time it looks like Wolves get close, every single time it looks like Wolves have surpassed them, the bigger brother seems to show up and go, no, well, hold on.
Wait a second here, and instantly put them back in their place. Again, less than ideal start for Wolves. Probably the worst possible start you can imagine.
I mean, obviously, the game is still early as well, but you can imagine that the next time, aka what feels like the first time this Wolves roster beat BDS, is going to be the biggest game and the biggest relief.
It's like trying to lift that curse. But well, as the upside down repels come through, they're afraid of a run out to come through, rightfully so. I mean, BDS, they seem like there's nothing they can do wrong in these first 3 rounds. As Wolves get themselves prepped and ready to start taking that top 4 under their own control, it's Leakafak hiding very patiently underneath the hatch. It's gonna hope and see if there's someone overstepping a little bit, not droning out properly, so we can pick them up with a P90.
Oh, there's the first pick. Deadshot gets in. Wants to swing into the second fight. Removes the procs, though, as Alems steps up not too far away, but he is under a lot of pressure here. Do they know about his position? Can he get one before he gets swung on? Because there's 3 players on the hunt. Spray around towards the corner he was at. Bibu gets another, and he gives away some of his location by spraying some traces towards one. There it is. Wolves have shown up. A team talk is obviously one for the ages. They needed the words of their coaches in their ear. Julian and Helby have given them wonders for this as they seem to be bouncing back.
Oh, flawless round to come back indeed. Shaku had an idea where they're coming from, but as soon as he turned around, it was over for him. It's a good timeout to be called there by Wolves. Very decisive, very quickly. But they need to keep that up for the remainder of this half. They need to try and push this back to a 3-3. One round is just not going to be enough. We mentioned it before, 5 rounds is all they need to hold onto that top spot. They don't even need to win here. They just need to, well, stall long enough.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
3-1. We're not going to see Bar as of this moment, and it has fallen out of favor a bit when, you know, we've talked about it before. When teams first sort of came towards Cafe, when it was reinvigorated, Bar was the sort of go-to. You'll recognize it a lot from your non-comp games as being a site that a lot of teams pick first because you can get quite creative and you force a lot of it in specific scenarios that have to be cleared otherwise. However, as the sort of CCTV route went, you have it learned by attackers. You have teams get more and more used to it. They're able to pull out plays and force engagements, and also that modern take and set up of siege where you have these long firefights. You sort of want to stretch out the angles in the gunfight to be as wide as possible. It's very hard to get a good control of that on that top floor site. So you'll see teams try and pick it less. It's not entirely fallen out of favor. Mining is still also a bit of a sort of eke for some teams, but ones that are happy and confident with their mining hold will pull away from Bar.
The Grim to be used might be able to slow down BDS's approach a little bit if used properly. Stop them from taking the swings. You're going to get a bit of a heads up once those players, of course, are inside of the Grim Bees. Slim was hunting for a drone. I'm not sure if he found it in the end. It's definitely getting his position reinforced up a little bit more as Wolves seem to eye up a quick bakery take.
I mean, look at this, all the pressure's coming through. As I said, Renshiro is in a danger spot. Does get a down, which is picked up by the end of LMs on the cover, but they get the kill onto Renshiro and try and take the territory with all the aggression behind it. They're going for a bit of a smash and grab, and it has to come through from Mowgli. Swings onto one, gets the down on the second. Would have seen the player go down, finds the next engagement as Brede and Shaiko do their best, and it's just good enough, but it's still technically a 3 versus 2. They're going for the pickup on the player. There it is, LM's back on the beat, back with those Kiba barricades, and one instantly deployed, a second in pocket as Shaiko is able to hold on for a little bit. A cheeky upside down rappel on the door, sprayed through against them, but they've just done enough to stop Wolves progressing from the bakery.
They needed to go aggressive, Wolves. They did so in the start. Just weren't able to completely push on through with the advantage, but still put a big dent into the defense out there. They have some control they can play with. All they need now is to just take out one of these 2 flanks. Either the person that is behind the prep window or the person in Kojak to get themselves lined up to take a unilateral fight. Shaiko seems to be the approach they wanted to go for. He's rotating back up red. Wolves still trying to decide where to go. Bibu's actually covered off slightly by the Kiba barrier, so Shaiko finds the jump in though. P4 was looking to go for him, go aggressive in wedding. And now to 2-on-3, BDS again in the driver's seat of this round.
Oh, it's so tricky to get the push as well. Bibu's able to get one more. They've got themselves in tucked, and the pre-fire around the corner gets the down onto Brede. It's all down to Shaiko. Doesn't have the impact to stop this. Doesn't have the fight to go his way. Pre-fires, he goes through the hop, gets the down onto one, can't see the second! And Wolves just push through to get their second round.
Kiba Bearers being more of like a hurt here for BDS rather than a save, because he wasn't able to push through to the wedding area there. Wasn't able to actually see where the plant was happening, which eventually cost him his life. And Wolves, again, they push through. A very aggressive and explosive opening in the round. And they should drag him just across the finish line in the end. Again, though, bottom floor will be played by the side of BDS, looking to go for a repeat here. And again, great picks by Mowgli The injury onto Alem's not being able to confirm that is what it is. Instantly try to put the fight into Bride. And Shaka being able to go through, didn't actually know what the plan was happening. He thought it was close, but it was actually right behind it. They probably didn't expect the second player to be behind that one keeper barrier.
I mean, they were double stacked. They were really out of time. Have to hold on. Free fire on the swing, got the net on it, and here we double down on Kitchen, and BB's got a bit of an idea on the blitz. Instead of playing the long fight against those long angles, it was a really good sort of setup and take and smash. They're going to wait and try and move as slowly and subtly as possible to disguise the operator and the chance of it.
I think this might be to take quick control of VIP. If there is, again, trouble out there, you want to be removing that, because that's where they struggled with in the first round. They were playing this ground floor. Last round, they brought the aggression. They found success. What about this time, then? Bring more aggression. Bring that shield. Try and go for a clean pick through the opener there. And suddenly you have the entire half of the map under your own command.
Mowgli trying to force the catch onto the player, trying to see if any support structure's in the line, and there it is. He said it was a quick clear, and BB's made sure that it's quick work. A couple of smokes. We hear some barricades popping. They might try and get a bit of cover on the back wall. It does isolate EFAC, and that is that risk at this moment. The Blitz is a little bit lucky that EFAC's trying to be as secret as possible there. As the pings come out towards Shaiko, they can sort of force the player. But if he can go untested here, if they think a clear place to play, well, you can see them trying to get the pressure onto BB.
And people already did his job, though, as that blitz, taking care that VIP was going to fall into their hands. Anything he gets from here is going to be a bonus for that blitz, whereas they want to make sure and make the most of it with that shield in their hands. Keeper Bears are blocking off the double door, though, as Bibu does get taken down by Leakafek, who was stuck in there, somehow escapes before anybody was able to respond to it. Shaiko over the top floor will find P4 as well, and Wolves, the round suddenly seems to be falling apart a little.
One little missed moment here. Shinka holding on and wants to swing into the engagement, but knows the fight ahead of him. EFAC's got a good angle and a good hold on this, and he's ready as soon as he sees a bit of a shoulder. Oh, he's actually going to opt to pull back slightly. I was going to say, it looked like he might want to lean in for a second. It's almost a bit of a bland hold. There's still Shaiko behind them. Still a little bit of an isolation of those three players. They have the choice of either trying to drive their way in, but it's currently locked off. The C4 doesn't quite get the catch, but well, the hop over the top. EFAC isn't able to get the connection. All down to a Lems, and suddenly this 1 versus 1. It's a bit of a blinder, a bit of a back and forth. Shinka's going to hold on, see if he can get the plant as the motion comes round. They're not sure if there's a cover. They're not sure if they're going for the full send it. They're up, but it's Shinka! The MVP of the roster throughout this split so far gets one more clutch added to his tally.
Just in time as well. He saw Lems doubting himself. It's like, should I go for it? No. And then he went anyway, held back slightly. And at the final moment, he decided to run for it. It was Shinka deciding to go off the actual defuse, ready to take that fight. It was just a bit sharper out there. 3-3. After BDS started off so dominantly, a timeout really put Wolves back into it. Now to the defense themselves. 2 more rounds is what they need to secure their first seed. But they're not just looking for a first seed, Emmy. They will be looking to go 4-0. But more importantly, to finally beat BDS again. I think that is like the biggest win for them. Even if they get 5 rounds, that is what it is. If they manage to find a win against BDS, that's going to be really skyrocketing their motivation and their knowledge of themselves and confidence.
5 seconds left before insertion.
An even half from where it was. That team talk has really done a bit of the distance. And it's not that the rounds were, you know, sort of swing through. 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 2. You can't really get closer than that. But finally, we have a little bit of a game on here. And you wanted to step in because, to be honest, some of the ones a bit earlier in the day haven't quite had the bite and panache of all the intensity of one that doesn't even have the same level of tenacity. Wolves 2 rounds. You get yourself that first seed. You get yourself to save One more game, and only one game, one best of 3, would separate you from getting to Atlanta.
Oh, is this going to be a jump out from P4? That's 1, that's 2. He's definitely tempted to go for it. He goes, but he's found. Lems from the spawn are ready to pick him up. Shinka goes down as well, and it's a horrible start for Wolves on their defense.
It was an idea, but Alems was prepped for it. If they didn't have that Alems position played, well, then you'd probably lose someone. But, you know, it's a good, keen bit of awareness against their opponents. Shinka is pretty much ungettable with the position that he's in. Oh, ho, ho, and Ranshiro gets the take there onto Mowgli, who was doing his best to try and offer something back in. But it does just leave the 2 players inside the site. Another E1D across the sky with Deadshot just firing back at the tracers, hitting them. But with Shaiko now tucked in, cutting the hold of the site in half, it's going to make it very tricky for these players. 1 left. Not any long. BDS. They opened their defense with a flawless, and they've done the same on their attack.
Now, there is no more timeouts for Wolves to be picked up here, so if this is, again, starting to be a quick succession of rounds for BDS, then there's no more saving grace except for themselves. They need to do it all by themselves right now. Their coaching staff can no longer help in this important game.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being...
This is the second floor to come up. Reading and dining usually played heavily up to the top floor, and that's why we see many of them go instantly out there. Verticality also very important. Stop a lot of the entries that way. Do not mean entry kills, I mean entry ways. Just for those confused about it, you know.
I'm so confused. Now I'm glad that you split things up.
Yeah, I mean, the flat hell. Kali to be on the board at Lems. Could still swap off, but it's not an operator we see very often. I'm not sure if we've seen her at all this stage so far.
No, I believe that is the first pick of Carly. I'm pretty confident in my belief there as well. So, well done, Lems. I mean, BDS have often been a team that's helped pad out precious stats of what operators have been played. They're just one of those rosters that does like to sort of stretch their legs a bit, and I'm not going to say bring pocket plays, but they have ideas on how they can get plays put together. Alem's ping in the window, sort of giving the preparedness to P4, who's just on the other side of it. You expect not to have another jump out. The deployment of those claymores will pretty much confirm it. They pull the Kali slightly further back.
Whereas the Kali could be really useful in holding off angles. All you need is just a tiny slip of the back and have an instant kill on the player out there. Mowgli finds Liquefacto with a big run out. Needs to find himself back into the site somehow, though. And he's very afraid of someone potentially coming up on that garage side. Also afraid of someone being down below, but seems like he's able to escape freely. No one there from BDS, which was actively hunting him.
Yeah.
Just rotate.
I mean, it's... I'll be honest, a bit of a surprise that he's able to get all the way around there. You could see, look towards the places that might be the first catch. We saw the Kali not too far away from one of the positions he could have checked and was ready for the sort of run around there. So I guess they just sort of thought, no, we don't need to go for this swing. Let's keep pushing. The Kali's now in on the top. The pressure onto the back end of the wall. Shaiko wants the player to have to rotate around. Look how aggressive he is, but it's punished. He thought he was in this sort of sneaky position, but instead... Wolves have the watch, they get the take, they're able to pull themselves back down to the site itself and go actually even further after Deadshot gets the clear that it's all clear. 3 versus 5 here. And we have Deadshot in a good position. Has the opportunity to rotate up any staircase that is necessary eventually. So really come down to where that push is happening from. And as he's coming up red, Yokai drone is being used again by P4, probably to spot out what is clear and what is not. We might actually see a double roam back up to the top floor to see if they can put a nail into the coffin for BDS in this round. BDS, they have opportunities. They've been able to pull impossible situations and scenarios into their favor before, but time is steadily ticking, and that control that they have to keep on the vertical is something that is being actively contested. Plant is being attempted. I'm not sure if there's an echo drone on the favor, but with Renshiro distracted by the first fight and dropping it to Mowgli. Even with the put down, it's instantly put right back down. Wolves, they set themselves up for a retake there and played it phenomenally.
Almost a flawless round to come through. Just Mowgli that was rotating up the brown stairs got himself picked up before the rest of BDS fell. Means we're trading those rounds. Wolves a single round away from getting first place in their group. Kitchen up next. Now we've seen Wolves attack that. Defend that, sorry. We've seen BDS attack it. All the way around. I don't know how I messed it up twice in one sentence.
All right.
But it came down, and I think it usually comes down to picking your side. Like, either you go from the white side of the map, or you go from the cupcake side to try and take control of one of those sides. The attack that didn't work was to go all from red stairs, because you find yourselves literally exposed from every single angle. Which is winnable if you find and win every single gunfight, but it's just way better to limit those fights in just a single direction they could be coming from.
4 apiece. And last time we were here, it was a flawless from BDS just a round before. Why? I mean, those sort of rounds, you just have to put down to mistakes. Mistakes on the jump out attempt, mistakes on the cover being punished there. Wolves might try and play themselves a little bit more sheepish because from that moment, they're also able to lose a body down in a wedding too. And Monty will be that chance at a drive. P4 preps himself some attention, but again, you know, it's got to be a heck of a blinder. Though they were successful with the run out on the last time round, so who knows?
It's a silent prep as well on that window, so if anybody was near already, no one would have heard. Lems again playing on that Kali, just holding a very tight angle. And I said it before, if someone walks by and you're quick enough on that trigger, it's an instant down. Not that that's why you're picking the operator. Of course, bring some utility as well. Basically an alternative to Thatcher. Look, if that gets the very first into Thatcher, he was just unaware.
Cut the hold right in half. Last time they didn't really do any of the vertical take, and this time Efac's done it single-handedly. What a kill onto P4. The P90 can't even fire as quick as they move. Alems with a Kali kill. Not the most common, but they'll take it and they'll keep moving in. BDS with a slightly different approach. They missed the swing of one player, but they look prepped to take another flawless. There it is. 2 different takes, both on Kitchen, both flawless for BDS.
Sabibu struggled there. He's trying to find a head on the Monty right over the shield, but somehow all his bullets just hit the shield or went over instead. And BDS with that find themselves that flawless round. LM's just holding an angle the entire round, actually got rewarded for it with the Kali. I like how it's like, I said that during the first round he played it, and it's eventually happened to him. Bit of a flank watch, or like a rotation watch, but
Defenders, protect your bombs from
didn't work out. Top floor is next up. It's not going to be as forgiving to a Kali, I think. Actually might use it here to make sure the walls get opened up, or that the shield gets removed, or some other utility to be destroyed. Explosive lance, of course, if you manage to get it on that shield, is going to be destroying it and all the utility around it. Need to bypass those magnet discs first.
To the top, I said things about this site and the reason BDS didn't pick it. Wolves, they're going to give it a go after they've had more solid holds picked apart a couple times. Still on. The Kali, still on. Chance at the swing through here. It does give you some of that long range reach. Fine with the Habana, obviously. None of those walls are going to stay sort of stood, but there isn't anything that is distinctly being removed from the back end of them. There isn't a need for a heavy electronics game to invade here, apart from maybe getting the cancellation and the break on some ADSs or some bubbles.
Quickly putting some horizontal pressure over that second floor. Lemurs to be set down as well. It's all in preparation to make sure. Very careful there. Lem's just crawling underneath the window. Doesn't want to receive any stray gunshot towards his face. Just to get the second claymore down. And now, pressure over piano. Tight angles. Shield needs to try and get rid of that. But there's only one way, and that's to waste those ADSs and get a lance on it.
Mowgli's playing that dangerous game. I mean, this is the position, as I said, where, you know, they're trying to remove those ADSs, let Shaiko get the pressure onto the back end. He's just been so driven. That grenade over the top, you get the full cash. The blinds and the break, they're pulling themselves out of that position onto Pixel. They know how much pressure's coming their way, and they're just going to take the E1D pings, because on the back of it, you can hear the thundering destruction towards that shield. EFAC's now going to White Window, cutting them off on the corridor. That bubble still causing problems. The spray up, Mowgli in such a dangerous place. Going for the jiggle peaks against the Kali, but how long can he survive there?
People down below actually found himself into a fight. Shaiko gets the very first onto Mowgli, so that opens up a whole opportunity onto White. Leak Effect still holding a flank down below. He's waiting for the player to come back out. Bibu, whereas he's playing 2 floors below, there's nothing really he can do here with the Solace, so all Leak Effect needs to do is just hold the one exit that he has potentially working for him. Shinka goes down as well. I believe that might have been by the Kali shot, as the Maestro no longer will be able to control their cams. Leak Effect finds Bibu as well, and it seems like BDS are going to be putting themselves up to a map point here.
Oh, there is a down. There is a swing towards the Kali. Just that terrifying tracer that cuts across the side. They suffer a little bit more damage here. Deadshot is being pressured from all around. And it's another flawless. Their third of 4 attacks. BDS are pulling off here.
Well, I guess this round will decide who's taking the first seed then. This is what it will come down to. Reading and Fireplace to come up. That middle floor, again, top floor, quite important. Lambs has been quite effective on the Kali, I have to say, though. He's finding quite a lot of kills. And this might just be, you know, like BDS knowing the kind of playstyle Wolves are doing. They'd like to go for these jiggle peaks every now and then. You can try and respond to that with an automatic rifle, which means that you need to hit him like 3-4 times to the chest, which is like 3 or 4 jiggle peaks and, you know, big opportunity to get your head removed. Or you pick the Kali, you only need to hit 1 bullet.
Winner of this round gets first seed, saves themselves a showdown against somebody in the opposing group. The other would fall second. And I'm not sure if things have been entirely confirmed as to who they would be playing. It just gives them so much extra work and another extra swing, another extra fight. I think if Virtus Pro could still fall down to third if they have a very bad loss against Koi. But otherwise, loser of this round plays into the breach.
Yeah, I think it's like a 7-0 loss they need to get.
Yeah.
Or maybe a 7-1, depending on how... I mean, we'll get to that when
we get to it. This is the round that connects the most, and BDS have such a good connection with this game. As you said, whether it's just playing against a team they know very well, Renchiro and Alems have both seemed much more alive, much more engaged in this map than any of the previous ones this split so far. If BDS are slow to warm up to the phase, it will at least get them a little bit better sort of situated for the best of 3s.
Explosive lance used on the bulletproof there is going to be cleared out. Instantly some long angles as well to follow up. It's going to be making it quite awkward to go back into the white hallway there for the Wolves players. Whereas the top floor is not the actual site, but it's often the very first step towards this site. It's Leak Effect already opening up from the train. He took some damage. He's looking to return the favor now, using that big DMR. Only need 2 shots to find a kill. Shaiko's getting stunned by the yokais, instantly falling back afraid that he might be hunted for it.
They're holding on with the caution to what is played, and it's EFAC that swings out, gets the first, instantly responded. There's the quick bite back from Shaiko across Zulu. And it is just body for body. Shaiko almost gets bodied himself as Deadshot wants to try and retake up against the Kali, but it just takes a sliver to get that catch. The grenade through the hole doesn't quite get the take onto the reading room player, and Deadshot still holding onto the back of the mining site means they can't try and eke in a plant otherwise. Bibu with the shaky grasp on the top floor. He's going to find a fight sooner rather than later, but there's only one other player up here putting the pressure on, so it seems very much like they want to try and angle and eke their way in onto this reading wall. Deadshot almost caught by the Zulu swing, just sees the side of Iana.
Saved his life unknowingly there now, still active in the fight, still looking to find a kill. A fight over the top will happen very soon though, as you see a player eking out. Shaika finds Deadshot. Is this going to be the end? Is Wolves again going to fall? As Shinka finds one, he needs to find a second, but the swap to his pistol is not fast in time. Bibu, the last man standing, gets taken down as well by the Kali, and BDS take the first seed in their group as they take down Wolves again.
The curse continues for Wolves, and they leave against BDS once again, tails tucked between their legs. BDS, after a rocky start, pull a first seed. You can see the excitement on their faces. They know that they are now only a single best of 3 away from cementing themselves on that trip to Atlanta and pretty much in the